Aloha, aloha, aloha to the warriors out there. Road to 45, day 19. Today I wanted to talk about showing up. And showing up doesn't need to be about showing up and putting out in the sense of like being flashy about what you have or what you want people to think you have. Um, Showing up in its most simplest form is being there even when it's even hard for you, being there for others even when it's difficult for you and you might be in a challenging space, um, because showing up sometimes is the medicine that you're going to need to help you heal through whatever's happening to you. So we're going to talk about that and we're going to lean into that. Aloha. Showing up for me is different on all different levels, but I think it's important to know that even through our hardest trials and tribulations, we um, often find this camaraderie and also this like this connection to people that deserve our love and our aloha. And sometimes even when we're having to struggle, we're having to show up for people, um, because that's what we do. That's what we love. And showing up for people is that part of having to understand relationships. Um, I had a conversation recently with a good friend of mine, and we talked about how sometimes we don't realize we're struggling because we're so busy trying to just make ends meet. We're so busy trying to pay the bills, trying to work, and so we don't even realize we're struggling through some emotions. We may forgot to grieve a loss of a classmate or a loved one, and in this conversation, we were talking about like how do you show up in those spaces, and I can only speak for me. I can only speak for who Lehua is, and I said sometimes I don't realize that I'm doing this, but sometimes I'm just like wanting to reach out, or even like not more than just reaching out. It was like it's sending a text. How you doing? Just checking in. Haven't heard from you in a while. Haven't reached out to you in a while. Just checking in. And sometimes I find myself also like asking that with my students. How you guys doing? You guys okay? Like, and I say that because I want them to understand that it's okay to take a pause, to recollect yourself and be like, am I okay? Because what happens is when we start showing up for people and supporting them in those spaces, their businesses or their kid graduated, and you just kind of want to do your little small part, even though you don't know if it might be enough, right? And so we show up in all these different ways, but sometimes that showing up for other people is the medicine, right? And I said that earlier. And we don't realize consciously that medicine is actually what we needed. We needed the human contact. We needed to tell ourselves that this is important. And so even with my own struggles, I'm gonna attend my friend's son or daughter's graduation party, or I'm going to help, you know, help my friends take their kids to the movies, or check on my nieces and my nephews. And even though I might be going through something that I'm not consciously making an effort to deal with, our body consciously goes, okay, we're in fight or flight mode, and so right now we're gonna kind of fight it through flying through it. And so we do that by showing up for other people. And it's not a bad thing. I think sometimes there's this negative connotation that um, you have to show up at 100%. I want to tell you right now, ain't none of us showing up at 100% in anything all the time, every time. Even in relationships, like showing up for your partner, whether it's a business partner, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a what do you call that, like a habitating um, issue, when when we're showing up in those things, we're not there at 100%. Very rarely is any one of us showing up to a relationship at 100% every single day, every time. Sometimes we're at 60%. Sometimes we're at 40. Sometimes we're at barely making the double digit percentage. We're so depleted and so drained, that we're having to lean into these people we bring around us, and that's where we're gonna start to recharge ourselves. So sometimes showing up in situations is really about recharging your batteries, because you don't plug it in personally for yourself at all, and so you wait to be around other people to find their energy, and they start to look like, yeah, and it's nothing for me. For me, it's nothing to do with like wanting to suck people's energy or mana. Like, that's a different type of discussion. It's really finding that you don't have enough energy, so you're looking to figure out where you can potentially and positively, for the most part, positively pull energy from people that are worth giving your time to, because you don't have much of it, especially if you're trying to just put your head down, hit the pavement, and not worry about all these other things. Yet when you put your head up, these things are still there. Like, they don't go away. And so sometimes when we're showing up in situations, we're showing up because we need the medicine to heal, or to gain more wattage in this sense. And so I always, try to situate myself where I'm like, I don't want to always take energy too. I also want to be a vessel to give energy to other people if they need it, because you cannot just take. You got to be able to take enough so that you can recharge somebody else's batteries, and that's what showing up is for me. Sometimes it's just checking in, taking a cruise, and all of a sudden you see your family, your relatives hanging out for the day, and you just stop by and talk stories, and that's the showing up. Sometimes that's the simplest form of showing up. It wasn't planned, and I'm here. How you doing? And then sometimes it's intentional. Like, somebody's going through some tough times, and so you intentionally make an effort to go and show up for them. So showing up can be on different levels and on many levels, but at the very basic core of showing up is remembering that for every energy you take, you have to give back. And also being able to go, I needed this, and recognizing that you showing up for somebody today was you also spending time to self-heal. We forget those things more so than we should. We should be remembering it more so now than ever, but we often forget that we too show up in situations because we too need the healing. We too need to heal. So yeah, that's today. And always keep aloha in your heart, because when you have aloha in your heart, you have more aloha to share with the world. And I truly and honestly believe that aloha is going to save the world, one person at a time. So if you can, share aloha with everybody you meet and you come across. Aloha, ahui ho.